And hello, everyone. Again, thank you so much for joining us for this back to school workshop on interactive lessons, specifically the new K5 interactive lessons. Although there is an entire course of 6-8 interactive lessons already available in the Content Hub, which I will mention a few more times today. Our objectives for this session is to learn how to use the interactive lesson packs, slide decks, and student handouts in the best way for you and your students, and be ready to apply these tools. It's also to experience and explore how the lessons can integrate multiple elements in an interactive way that you deliver based on the age of your students. And in my view, one of the most exciting things about this new course is you kind of get to shift from teacher to facilitator. You're really shifting the learning to students, and you're just there to support them along the way. Before we get into all that, I'd love to introduce you to myself and the rest of my great team. A little bit more about me. I'm over here in Oakland, California, after living in San Francisco for a while and teaching elementary school, first, third, and fourth grade for about 8 years. Love focusing on project-based learning and incorporating STEM and coding into that. And I also co-founded an app with a friend of mine that helps you find your phone after the battery dies. So it was a great opportunity for me to bring those two passions together when I joined up with Sam Labs almost 2 years ago at this point. And oh, wait a minute. Oh, I guess my Basset Hound Wizard there popped in there at the bottom. She just can't stay out of any of my slide decks, and she's very silly looking. So I better get on to the next slide because uh, there's a whole lot of other people on my team. Depending on what region of the country you're in, we are going to be part of the team that's supporting you. So, like I said, I'm over here in Oakland, California. I'm supporting the Pacific Northwest. My great colleague Melinda is supporting the Southwest, that purple region you see there. The great Alyssa is in the Midwest with the stupendous Lauren up in the Northeast there. And our fearless leader, Mackenzie, covering the Southeast while we do hire a new team member. So this is an opportunity now to scan one of these QR codes to get a link to meet with your customer success rep in your region, rather, if you care to get our info. Here's that opportunity. And we look forward to meeting with you if we haven't already. Now, for those here live, I would love to pause here and just do a bit of a welcome, whether you want to unmute and share or type it in the chat. We'd love to just know who you are, your role, where you're coming to us from, and perhaps one thing you hope to get out of today's session. So I'll now leave it for those who might like to share.
My name's Ashley Peterman. I teach in Gettysburg Area School District in Pennsylvania. I'm a fourth grade teacher. I teach just science and writing. So I'm interested. I've used Sam Labs in the past, and I'm interested in learning about the interactive lessons.
Thanks so much for sharing, Ashley. I love that combo of science and writing. They're so related, but we don't often think of them together. And students have quite a few opportunities to write with these interactive lessons, whether it be whole group writing for like kindergarten, first grade, or writing within the interactive lessons themselves for upper elementary. And I see we've got Amanda Sharon coming in from fourth grade in Indian Prairie, I believe, in Naperville, Illinois. And then Beth, another fifth grade teacher coming in to us from Naperville. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, I'm Carol Hess. I'm an ELL teacher, now known as ML, multilingual learner teacher, and I am at Indian Prairie School District 204 also. I'm at Bilta Elementary School in Bolingbrook, and what I hope to get out of today's lesson is to increase my knowledge of SAM Labs.
So glad to have you with us, Carol, and thanks for sharing. I know we got a lot of great folks over there in Naperville, and glad to see some of your faces. And Jill, thanks for sharing, coming in from Edison, New Jersey, gifted in math intervention. Isabella, first through fifth grade from Fort Morgan, Colorado. Welcome. So glad to have you here. And whatever you hope to get out of today's session. I hope that you can get that. And like I mentioned, I used to be a first grade teacher. So if at any time you want to unmute and interrupt, and if you have a question or a thought, I'm not going to take it personal. I've been interrupted thousands of times in life. Thank you, Jess Spinks, for sharing, instructional coach from Gettysburg Area School District. Hoping to learn more about the interactive lessons to support the teachers there. And then Holly, sorry to miss you, almost missed you there. She teaches pre-K through fifth grade art in Bodotork County, Virginia. Going to be teaching Sam Labs lessons starting next week. She's brand new to Sam Labs and excited to be learning along with the kids. Or rather, she is learning along with the kids, but excited. That's the best way that I've found how to do it. I mean, we all know when we get in the classroom with students and give them these tools, they're quickly teaching us things that we never would have thought of. Um, and thanks, Dina, for chiming in. Vancouver Public Schools in Washington State, over in my region, instructional coach, hoping to get more comfortable with Sam Labs. Well, thanks for sharing, everybody. Like I have been saying, please do feel free to unmute and with any questions, comments, anything like that. And let's keep it going. So, the overview of this new K5 STEAM course is that it takes a holistic approach. It's multidisciplinary course that's all based around real world problem solving, similar to everything we've been doing recently at Sam Labs. It's all tied to career and industry study. Really designed to prepare students for CTE pathways in middle school, if that might be the case, and of course in high school and beyond, through science focused and through thematic units. Most of the themes being those career and industry connections. And like I was saying, the goal of this course is to shift the cognitive load from teacher to student, while still, of course, providing those scaffolded supports, to promote struggle. We want that productive academic struggle with, I don't want to say no frustration, but as little frustration as possible, and that positive frustration that comes from productive struggle. So, a few differences from the modular STEAM course that many of you may be used to. So, the structure, instead of standalone modular lessons that are in a sequence, but not necessarily necessary to teach one after the other, these are thematic units with vertical alignment. The student role is changed different. This is more student driven rather than a teacher led focus and designed for that productive struggle that I mentioned. The assessments are going to be different too. The interactive lessons themselves can be submitted if students are completing them more independently or working on them whole class. That a record of that work will be able to be saved rather than end of lesson formative assessments. Before, the career integration was there, but it wasn't as designed to hit those CTE subclusters as this new course is. And the platform use has expanded. This is based on direct feedback from teachers like you. Elementary teachers, especially if they had used Sam Labs for a while and wanted to deepen and expand how they were using it, they said, we want to go beyond Sam Space flow-based coding. Our students are ready for block-based code. They're ready, to go to that next level. So that is built into this course as well. A lot of choice between Sam Space and Sam Blockly. And the end goal being content application rather than content and coding exposure, with the goal of creating future-ready students through this progression that we like to refer to as exposure, exploration, preparation. In the younger grades, it's all about sparking creativity, getting their hands on those blocks and Legos and maker materials, and starting to get familiar with the engineering design process. In upper elementary, they're going to go into deeper exploration. User-centered thinking, data analysis, and prototyping, being more deliberate about what they're building and how they're incorporating their systems and SandLabs blocks and or root robots. And then in 6-8, it's really the CTE focused. It's going to be career and industry exploration, as well as exploration of notable scientists, engineers, mathematicians from all over the world, with the end goal of students being able to see themselves pursuing these careers in college and beyond. A few key points to note about the course. Uh, all the lessons have the same kind of structure, this four-part structure, which I'll get into in just a moment here. The interactive lessons are utilized across each lesson or activity. Some of them are more activities, a little more hands-on and less reliant on coding, and some are more lessons that target a particular science concept or engineering concept. So their use differs a little bit. And about 2/3 of the lessons and activities utilize SAM blocks. This is again in response to teacher feedback about the desire for having some unplugged lessons that build upon the coding that they're doing when they're plugged in. And of course, SAM Space and SAM Blockly both utilized. Each lesson has a pack, including the standards aligned lesson or activity plan. Many of the lessons have student handouts, optional printables, the interactive lesson slide deck, which we'll take a look at, and the interactive lesson rather, and then just the pure slide deck that may either be a part of that lesson or in addition to that lesson. A few need to know facts about these resources. Kindergarten is going to feature all activities rather than a mix of lessons and activities to keep it more engaging for those younger learners. And then first through fifth grade featuring a mix. That the activity plans follow that four-part structure that is new for this course: engage, apply, extend, reflect. And activities and instructions included are changed based on grade level to be developmentally appropriate. We've got all the necessary handouts, either they might be reference guides, they might contain information students need to know for the lesson, or there might be some exploration as we're seeing on one of these here. And they'll have, in upper elementary, they will have the option to complete the handout in the interactive lesson itself if you choose to assign it to them, or upload a file of their completed handout. So it doesn't all necessarily need to be done within the interactive lesson for accessibility and other concerns. The teacher role within these lessons, is providing the necessary resources, clarifying expectations, and providing feedback on student submissions, and using the resources as a record of student thinking. Well, the student role is going to be capturing their thinking using a variety of ways of doing that, and saving that and using that as a reference for future builds, and then submitting either digitally or in print. So these interactive lessons for third through fifth are designed to be used alongside the slide deck. They're not necessarily designed to be completed by students completely independently without teacher instruction. The idea is that you go through it all together with the students and with it displayed on a projector screen or smartboard. That's not how you have to do it. I'm working with a few teachers who are just simply assigning the interactive lessons directly to their students because that makes sense for their situation and their goals and their students. But this is how the course was designed to be used with that in mind. Then it allows all student work to be stored in one place. And it's a simplified version of the 6-8 STEAM interactive lessons if you're familiar with those. So for the teacher, you're using it alongside the slide deck to capture student work, including the writing that I mentioned earlier in real time, and providing guidance during interactive tasks. While students are completing the embedded tasks, matching, drag and drop activities, short answer responses, and recording their explanations or work digitally during lessons, including the reflections at the end. The slide deck is designed to be used alongside the interactive lesson, and it can be used without the interactive lesson at all if you'd rather use those student handouts that I mentioned. Speaker notes are provided with the slide deck to support directing students on navigating the interactive lesson. So there'll be a lot of helpful guidelines on telling students when to go to the next section and how to record and document their work. So again, the teacher role is, delivering the core content, the mini lesson, using the lesson plan, facilitating those discussions and checks for understanding, and then directing students when to move into the interactive lesson to code their systems or use the handouts. While students are going to be actively participating in turn and talk and small group discussions and those checks for understanding, they're going to watch videos, sometimes read or listen to passages and observe demonstrations within the interactive lessons and prepare to apply that learning during the apply section of the interactive lesson. Some additional teacher resources you'll find on the Content Hub are standards, alignments, maps for each grade level, a unit overview showing the progression of each unit, the coding platform used, and the focus standard. This is linked in the slide deck, which you will get a copy of after this workshop. And the FAQ guide, recently updated, very thorough, has a lot of great answers in there. That's also available on our resource hub. Lots of short videos going over everything that I'm talking about today and so much more. But I don't say, we've got a FAQ, we've got a resource hub, we got plenty of places to find answers, but also reach out to us, reach out to me, the rest of the team. This is what we love to do, is directly supporting teachers in answering your questions. Some of the lessons I'd really like to highlight, is a third grade unit in particular where Blocky opens an ice cream shop. It's bringing in some business related CTE subclusters, which I love at such a young age. And it's a great example of the holistic style of the course. You've got math in the choosing upgrades lesson. You've got prototyping in the creating a storefront for your ice cream shop lesson. And then you've even got music, just perfect for me, when they write a jingle for their ice cream shop. So that's just one example of, one of the units and the great progression of lessons that's thematically tied together. There's also a Fighting Wildfires unit, a third grade game-based, Fighting Wildfires activity, tying directly into current events and career-related learning. And then exploring budget constraints is a cool fourth grade math lesson focused unit where students have to purchase the SAM blocks that they want to use in their system using SAM money. It's like Blocky Bucks, I believe it's called. And then, okay, Jessica has a question. This may come out later in the presentation, but is there a read aloud feature for the interactive lessons for our non-readers with the passages and questions, etc.? Great question, Jessica. There is no read aloud feature at this time for the interactive lessons. However, there is a workaround with the read aloud feature of Google Chrome. And I'd be happy to follow up with more details about that. But there is a feature of Google Chrome that will read aloud all of the words on the web page that the student is looking at. So it's a great workaround to have while we add that feature and other accessibility features that the team is working on. And I've been recommending that to plenty of teachers, to use with their students. Also, for the younger grades, it is designed to be read out loud by the teacher whole class. So, kindergarten, first, second grade, they are not necessarily expected to do the reading and the interactive lesson on their own, although they certainly can. And you're very welcome. Let's keep on going. Another couple units to highlight: STEAM Innovators. This is for upper elementary, and it's really targeting those CTE pathways that I keep mentioning, and then amusement park adventures. This is the one of the lessons that we're going to check out in just a moment with designing a park entrance rather. Interest is what I think students are going to have in this unit because who wouldn't want to design their own amusement park? The assignment flow looks a little bit like this. Over on the left side, as we'll see in a moment, you're going to see the introduction, engage, apply, extend, and reflect flow of the assignment. Engage introduces the lesson. Apply is where students are going to complete their coding or physical computing challenges and prototyping. And reflect is where students will review and have time for some self-assessment to reflect on their learning. All right, I think right now it is great time to switch over to Sam's studio, log back in, and take a look at one of these interactive lessons on the Content Hub. And oh, by the way, has anyone noticed the complete rehaul of the Sam Studio website? Just thumbs up for those joining us live if you have. It is really fantastic. Just a cleaner look that I love, and also things just load much faster. It takes a lot less time to log in, as you just saw. So, all thanks due to our great product team for this update. All right, let's check out an interactive lesson. I am in Sam's studio. I'm going to navigate to the Content Hub here in the top left, and I am going to go ahead and filter. One moment, please. I'm going to filter for course, and I'm going to go K5 Interactive Seam Samples. Then I'm going to filter by grade level. And like I mentioned, the amusement park is a fifth grade unit. Now, this is a great way to, for you all to find the scope and sequence that you can access the lessons directly from. This is going to bring up all of the fifth grade lessons. But what I like to do here is scroll to the bottom down to the fifth grade interactive STEAM teacher resources. Clicking on that, I am going to find the third through fifth grade scope and sequence. Now, just a note here, this is a K5 course. However, not all of the K2 lessons are published yet. Many of them are, and they will be published on a rolling basis throughout the school year. But right now, for our completed scope and sequence, we just have the third through fifth grade. If you're interested in having the full K through 5 scope and sequence, please do reach out to me or the CS rep in your region. But right now, I'm going to click on that third through fifth grade scope and sequence and just make sure we got it showing up on the screen here. So this is a great, really helpful document, like I said, to be able to find and save the progression of lessons, directly from one document without having to go into the Content Hub. So you've got your unit overviews. In the table, it shows the coding platform or activity type that lesson or activity uses. The name of the lesson and the link to it is in the middle there. And then there's a brief overview of that lesson over here. So what I'm looking for is that fifth grade unit. So I'm going to pardon my scrolling as I scroll through third and fourth grade down to fifth grade till I get to the amusement park adventures unit, where I'm going to click on lesson 1. And that's going to open it in a new tab. Make sure you are signed in to Sam Studio before clicking on these links, or you may have to log in. Now I'm on the page for this specific interactive lesson. And in order to assign it to students or to have it in my library, if you're teaching lower elementary and using the interactive lesson alongside the slide deck, which of course you have here, and the activity plan, what I'm going to do is press this copy button here. When I press copy, it'll spin around a little bit, and then it's going to copy this lesson to my interactive lessons tab. You can see that tab is now highlighted instead of the Content Hub, and I've got all of my copied interactive lessons here. So now I can click on this lesson and it is part of my saved library of interactive lessons. And there's a few things I can do once I'm in that library. I can assign it to students. So here I have my sample classes. Maybe I want to assign it to just sample class and not sample class 2. Here's where I can edit the due date. I'm going to give students till the end of the month to submit this lesson, and then I'll click submit. And now down here, it shows the classes that I have assigned the lesson to. Assigned it to sample class, the date that I assigned it, when it's due, and how many students have completed it. Below it says no submissions yet, but when students do finish and submit their interactive lessons, this is where they will appear. I can also edit these details or remove the assignment here. So once you've assigned the lesson to students, what do you do next? Well, you would either go to view the interactive lesson, to get the teacher view, or the student view if you were using it alongside the slide deck. So I'm going to click these 3 lines here and click preview so we can take a look at the teacher and student view. It brings you into teacher view first, and that's going to start with the lesson plan or activity plan on the first page. Then there's going to be an introduction, a couple of things to know before you begin the lesson for students. And then for the engage, apply, and extend sections, for the teacher view, you're going to have some rubrics for scoring students' short answer questions, multiple choice, and matching. And you're going to have some sample code as well in order to compare student codes to it. So, after they submit, they're going to see this code, and there would be an example code within the lesson plan. Let's take a look at the student view. I'm going to click Display Student View up here. And this is actually either what the students would be working through semi-independently or independently in upper elementary, or what you would be displaying on the screen in lower elementary. So after that introduction, students will begin with the engage, learning more about amusement parks and taking a look specifically at the park entrance. They're going to think about a time they went to or perhaps saw in a movie a stadium theme park theater or other exciting place and what it looked like. And then there's going to be some images in the slide deck to look at different amusement park entrances, and they will record what they notice. Some things to know, some things to read. It's a bit more heavy on the reading since this is a 5th grade lesson. And then they're going to design their own entrance. So this is a pretty open lesson. There are no starting points provided. In many of the lesson, the blocks are already on the workspace, for scaffolding purposes. And so students can focus on making connections and expanding upon this system that's already there with the blocks. But this is just a blank workspace to design whatever your imagination comes up with. So students will pin the workspace to the right side of the screen so they can continue to scroll on this side and see the instructions. Just one note, my screen might look a bit different right now just because I'm screen sharing on Zoom. But you can always remember this full screen button here that is going to make the coding workspace full screen if students aren't able to see it because of their device or whatever reason. So a theme park entrance, I'm just going to build a quick one here. So I'm thinking that, we're going to need to have some lights controlled by a button. Definitely some flashing lights on either side here. I'll connect the button to each of these virtual light sensors. Light sensor. Here I go it does kind of look like a little light bulb, doesn't it? And I've certainly worked with quite a few people who've gotten that confused, and now it's happened to me. But of course, I can just click on those blocks, click the X to delete them, and get the output that I actually need, the RGB LED block, and then connect the button. So our theme park entrance is going to have some great lights. But I do want those lights to stay on and flash after I press my button activating them at the top of this theme park entrance here. So I am going to need some behavior blocks. I'm going to need a toggle switch on both of these so I can simply press the button and have it toggle on. And then I'm going to add a color cycle so that the colors keep changing on the blocks. And I'll add the brightness cycle as well, so they light up and dim. And now I'll toggle my system on, and okay, so it looks like we get to participate a bit in the design engineering process. What I want then is toggling the lights on. And then let's see if I can figure out the color cycle. There we go. Okay, needed to drop it in later. So now when I press the button, my lights are going to go on. They're going to cycle between red, green, and blue as long as that toggle switch is on. And I'm going to have some nice decorations for my theme park entrance. Just a quick idea. Of course, your students are going to build a better one than me. Absolutely no problem. When students are done, they unpin the workspace and are able to move on to the next section. They also have the opportunity to upload a file of a drawing or design they made of the entrance or any additional information. Each lesson is designed to be about 30 minutes, but they all have an extension, built-in extension for, if you would like to make the students' experience a bit longer in younger grades, or if students happen to finish a bit early in older grades. So with this one, it's an opportunity to use some maker materials to build an actual model of the park's entrance and incorporate the sand blocks. Lastly, they will reflect on their learning. They're going to have some partner discussion as part of that reflection. They're able to choose two elements that they consider most important in their design, and then they're going to do some self-assessment here at the end. So important as students continue to, reflect on their work and grow and anticipate the next lesson. So there you have it. It's a little preview of the interactive lessons themselves. And let's move this and switch back to finish up here. So yes, everyone, that really wraps it up as far as the interactive lessons. I'd say, um, you know, what I'd like to end on is that just this kind of invitation for those that joined us live and for those joining us on the replay to just do some lesson and activity exploration. Feel free to log into your Sam Studio account right now, filter for the grade level of your choice, and K5 STEAM interactive samples. Find that teacher resources, check out a lesson, check out a unit. Explore 1 to 2 lessons, add them to your library, preview them, read through the lesson plan. Just take a moment to do that as we kind of wrap up here. And what I'm going to do now is just open the floor for any questions or thoughts or feedback that you have. We're definitely, this course is brand new. We've already updated it and several times based on teacher feedback. So I'd love to hear, feedback from those who have used it or just first thoughts on those who are encountering it for the first time, or any questions you may have. I will just open up the floor right now. Feel free to type it in the chat as well.
Hi, Joel. This is Jess Spinks.
Hey.
Quick question with the interactive lessons. Do they typically have the students working more in Sam Space versus Sam Blockley, or is it a combination?
Great question. So, the ones that I've explored usually have a choice between Sam Space or Sam Blockley. Those are the lessons that are part of the units. Now, there are some new starter activities as well that are also interactive lessons that are designed to for students to move from Sam Space to Sam Blockley and just deepen their knowledge around things explored in the starter lessons a bit more. So if to encourage students to choose Sam Blockley during some of these lessons, those starter activities are going to be a great way to do that. And you can find those. They're either in fact, let me just switch over there to make sure I've got everything right. Switch back to the Content Hub here, but I believe they are called K2 and 3.5 starter activities. Let's go back here. They should be right. Yeah, so they're right here under starter lessons for students. You're going to find the K2 starter activities are more geared towards deepening their understanding of the blocks themselves. But the 3.5 starter activities go deeper into behaviors, the debugging process, and transitioning into Sam Blockley from Sam Space.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions, thoughts, feedback? Maybe you had time to check out a lesson and explore it, and you'd like to tell us about it. I'll give those joining us live one more little chance, and then we'll call it a day. And by the way, thanks so much to those that joined us a little bit later. Really appreciate you joining us, and glad to have you with us. Okay. Oh, you're welcome, Joe. Thank you. Well, it's looking like there's not any more questions or thoughts. That's okay. If they do pop up in our last few minutes here, please do share them. But it is time now to move on and briefly talk about the Root Robot before I give you the link to the survey for those who joined us live to get their free Root Robot. So for those joining us on the replay, I'm sorry to say, but this is where we end. But thanks so much for watching and following along, and we hope to hear from you soon.